Hi everyone, I'm Jody here at Fort Worth Fabric Studio, and we are going to work on making our Texas square dance quilt out of Sweet Caroline fabric. And we're breaking this down into 3 sessions for you guys to make it easy so you can just do a little bit at a time. So this is going to be the first session, and we are going to be making 4 each of these 9-patch squares here, and we have a really handy method for doing this. We're going to be using the easy piecing grids. So if you've already cut everything, you'll have these cut into little 9x9 patch, and I'm going to show you how to use these because they are super easy, and all of your points on these will end up just matching up just perfectly. So I think you'll be really happy with this. So let's get started. The first thing you want to make sure you have on these is that you've got the bumpy side up. This is kind of like a lightweight interfacing, and that's going to be our glue. So make sure you have the bumpy side up. And then we're going to set this up so that you'll have four sets that look like this and 4 sets that look like this. And they are on the pattern for you, so you can see that. You will want to lay them this way because it will make a difference how the pattern comes out. And also I do want to point out that we have text prints here in this, which is kind of a directional. So make sure you lay them just how the diagram is in your pattern. So the first thing you're going to do is just lay your squares on top where they go. So I've already got my 2.5-inch squares cut, and you guys are just going to love this easy piecing grid. It just makes it so easy to get your points lined up. So let me go ahead and place all my squares on here so they look just like the 2 samples I've got sitting out. Okay, after you have them all laid on there like that, you're going to take your iron and just kind of iron over these, and that's going to make them adhere to the easy piecing grid itself. And you can use steam. I actually don't have any water in this iron, so you're not going to get any steam out of this. But go ahead and get them all ironed on here so they're adhered on here really well. Okay, after getting these ironed, our next step is going to be to stitch these. So what you're going to do is fold these right sides together, and there is just a tiny bit of a gap in between here, so it's going to make it real easy to lay it over, and it's really just going to want to lay right where these dotted lines are on the back. So you're going to fold it on the dotted line, and then you're going to stitch a 1/4 inch away right here. And after you stitch that, then you will fold the next section over here, and you'll stitch a 1/4 inch right here. So we're going to do that on both of those, but you just stitch just the one direction first of all, because we have to come back and do something different before we stitch the other direction. So I'm going to take these over to my machine and get those stitched, and then let you guys see what it looks like. Okay, this is what they will look like after you've stitched each of these seams this way, and they will look a little wonky, but you're just gonna love how this turns out. So the first thing you need to do is go ahead and close that back up, and then you need to take a pair of scissors and just snip right here in between. And if you hit your stitching, it's not going to hurt anything. I try to go just right up next to the stitching. I'm going to do the same thing here, snip right in between here where we stitched, and do that here. Okay, now we are going to press these, and what we need to do is on the back side, we're going to start here on this side, and I'm going to press these going this way, and then come back and press these coming this direction, and then these are going to go back up this direction. So I'm kind of going to show you with the iron here, and it is okay to kind of pull these a little bit because otherwise they tend to kind of bunch up. So you can kind of pull them just a little bit to make sure you get everything all stretched out the way it needs to be. Okay, now this middle row is going to come back and press toward me here. it really does help if you have steam in your iron. So I'm probably going to take this over to my steam iron right before I take this to sew. But as you can see, this is what we've done here. We press, one side's going to go this way, then the next row comes back, and then the next row goes back the opposite way. Then what you'll do is now you're going to fold it the other direction like this. And you'll see when you do this, now your seams are going to nest perfectly because you've got them going the opposite way. So you're going to fold this way, and you'll stitch a 1/4 inch down here, and then you'll fold this one and you'll stitch a 1/4 inch on that side as well. So I'm going to take these over to my machine and do that stitching, and then we will be back and have you trim these up to the exact size that we need. I've now gotten these sewn and pressed, and what I've done is gone ahead and pressed that next seam. I just pressed this one down this way and this whole seam down this way, and this is what it looks like on the back, kind of a zigzaggy, but the nice thing is they're nice and stabilized, and they are actually just so precise. So, well, I said that, so let's just measure to see. They should come out to 2-inch finished squares, and the only one that's fully finished is the middle one because it's got the seam all the way around. So I'm going to put my Omni-Grid marking ruler on here, and we're just maybe a hair over 2. That's my seams being a little funny, and there's exactly 2. And this one is 2 by 2. So it looks like they came out just as perfect as we thought. Now I'm going to take a 6.5 inch ruler, and we're going to be using the block lock ruler in the next set of instructions anyway for next week. But this is already 6.5 inches, and that's what these need to finish at. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and lay it right on top here and center this center square right in the middle of all of my marking lines here. And then I'm going to take, and there's really hardly anything to trim off, which is to be expected, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim both of these. I've got my other ones done, so I had those set up for samples for you guys. So you'll have to trim all of yours and just get them right down to 6.5 inches. And then we'll come back with the next step. Alright folks, I am back, and I want you guys to grab 4 of these 9 patches, and you need to make sure they're specifically like this. They need to have the ones where the flowers coming down from the left with the green up in the right. So you're going to have 2 of those. That's this one and that's this one. Then you're going to have the flower coming down from the right with the green on the left. So that's this one and that's this one. What'll happen is, the easiest way to tell is if you put all these together, these greens are going to be together like this and like this. What we're going to do is add a little dog ear to the middle of each of these so that we have just a little bit of a cute focal point. So you'll want to take your little teeny tiny squares, and the first step is we're going to draw on the back here. Let me get my pencil out and my ruler, and we want to draw corner to corner here so that we have an easy line to sew on. And with something this tiny, I feel like it's better to do this than try to eyeball it. So you want to take your little square with the corner drawn and line that up here on the outer edge. And I'm just going to go ahead and pin this here. Then you will stitch on this drawn line, and when you're done, just trim it down to about 1/4 inch and press it over, and you should still have, you know, a perfect square here in the corner. So we're going to go through and make all 4 of ours that way so that when we do put the quilt together, these will match up here in the middle and be a little focal point. Here we go. These are all sewn on here, and I did trim them up just slightly to make sure they came down the edges just right. But when we end up sewing these together, which will be in our last step in a couple weeks, that'll give a little point of interest there in the middle of the quilt. So you can go ahead and take these and set them aside. And now we're actually going to make a couple of border pieces so that we have those ready for when we assemble the quilt in a couple of weeks. Okay, you guys, so what we're going to do now is work on these outer border pieces. So we're gonna make a strip that goes across. We need 2 of those, and those are the ones with the cornerstones here on the outside. And then we need to make 2 of the side strips. So you'll just go by the diagram that we give you in the pattern instructions to place them the right way. And I've got a sample here, so we will go ahead and go off of the sample that I have. I'm going to go ahead and put these here in order. I'm going to make this one first. Let me just kind of pull this little guy out of the way, and we will work on this one here. So it's going to have an aqua flower cornerstone on either end, and then we have blue words, and then the white floral is next. And then the royal blue floral will be next. And then the white words. And then of course, if I get this in here, the little cornerstone. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble this row, and then also this guy here. We're just going to go exactly by how the diagram is, and then we'll have both sets of those done. Okay everyone, so we are done with the things we need to make for week 1 for our Texas Square Dance quilt. And again, this is out of the Sweet Caroline fabric by QT Fabrics. So you should have several of these. You're going to have 2 going one way, 2 going another way, and you'll have another 4 that have your little dog ears on them. And then you'll have 2 sets of border pieces here. So we've got these all ready to go. This set with no cornerstones, this set with cornerstones, and we are going to come back next week and make some fun half square triangle blocks. I'm gonna walk you through those with the block lock ruler, so that'll be super easy. And then the final week, we will come in and just put everything together. So this is a really easy quilt. Don't forget to check out the pattern. It is on the website, so I'll put the link below and you can find it there. It's a free download, and you can make this in all kinds of fabric. This is just the first one we're doing, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will be back next week with the second set of instructions. Take care, you guys.